I discovered that the guy I'm talking to is married and I'm the other woman.
She's the other woman.
So to begin, I, 27 female, am a bartender in a vacation town. A few weeks ago, I had a customer come in alone who was pretty shy at first. He was older than me. I would later find out that he was in his 40s, and I thought he was really handsome. I chat up all my customers, but eventually it slowed down to a point where he was the only one in the bar for a bit, so we got talking and hit it off pretty fast. By the way, this comes from BarGirl27, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. And I'm Angie.
I'm Carly.
And we're here to give good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We just know what we would do, but let us know what you would do in the comments. So, OP says, he explained that he was in the area on a work trip, and while I don't want to give specifics that would identify him, I found his profession to be really endearing, as he told me that he works with disabled children. We got to know each other throughout my shift, and he gave me his number before he left for the night. I texted him the following morning, and we got to chatting pretty regularly. He came in again during my shift, and afterwards texted me to ask if I'd like to go grab drinks somewhere. Though I wanted to, I had a flight for a wedding the next morning and needed to pack after work, so I declined. A day or two after I returned from the wedding, he let me know that he was back in the area for work. And again, he asked if I'd like to meet up for drinks. This time, I said yes, and after I got out of work one night, I met up with him. Our texting up until this point had been vaguely flirty, but neither of us had admitted outright yet that we were attracted to each other, so whether this was a date or not was unknown. I've also never been in a situation like this where I was interested in someone 15 plus years older than me. At some point during our time together, I asked him if he was divorced, since it was hard for me to believe that he had never been married before at his age, looking the way he did. He told me, yes, he had been married and divorced before to a woman that he had been with for over a decade. He made no mention of being with anyone else currently or being in any sort of open relationship. Throughout our time together, we got more flirty, and eventually, I admitted that I hoped this was a date and that I was attracted to him. He let me know that the feeling was mutual. Yippee!
Woo!
And at the end of the date, I asked to kiss him, to which he said yes. We kissed, and he asked if I would come back to his hotel room with him. Ooh. Because I had class the next morning, I politely declined, even though I wanted to say yes. We ended up going our separate ways, and ever since that night, we have been texting almost every day. Our conversations got progressively more suggestive, and though it didn't turn into full-on spicy texting, it got pretty close. I was becoming more and more interested in him, and really looking forward to the next time he'd be in my town, so I could finally take him up on his offer to join him at his hotel. I noticed that while he really seemed to enjoy texting me, he didn't ask me many questions about myself that I asked about him. He told me a little bit about his life and his dogs, and that the next time he'd be in my town, he'd be bringing them with him. Out of curiosity, I asked who watched his dogs while he was on his work trips. He said that friends watched them. I mentioned that maybe I could come visit him in his town at some point since it wasn't too far away. That way, he wouldn't have to drive to see me or arrange for his dogs to be taken care of while he was gone. His exact response? We could certainly work on that. Okay. That's when I got the gut feeling that wouldn't go away. It literally kept me awake until I pulled out my phone and got to investigating. I didn't know his last name, but I knew his first and where he worked, so I Googled that. I found him pretty quickly, and once I learned his last name, I looked him up on Facebook. I found his profile almost immediately, along with, you guessed it, his wife's.
Yeah.
The title did really let me guess that pretty easily, I have to say.
Yeah, I did see this coming only from the title.
Yep. What a shame. This man. Bad man. I sat up in my bed and just stared for a few minutes. The pictures from their wedding were posted just a few days over a year ago, meaning that he was texting me about all the places he wanted to kiss me during their first anniversary.
No!
Oh my gosh.
Icky.
Yikes. There's a lot I have to be grateful for here. I never slept with him, and I found out who he really was only after a few weeks. Based on what he told me about his job, his childhood, and his love of dogs, I truly thought that he was a sweet, honest guy. Usually, I'm very good at picking up when people are lying, as I've been gaslit and manipulated in romantic relationships before. I know this is how every Reddit post of this nature goes, but with him, I really believed everything that he said. It was only that one slip-up over text that gave him away. Now, I have his wife's Facebook account. I know I need to tell her. I was never looking for exclusivity with this man, and honestly, I don't have the time for it, but I refuse to be the other woman. His wife deserves to know what's been going on. I know if I was her, I'd want to know. I've already started screenshotting my conversations with him for proof. I guess I'm posting on Reddit right now because I need assistance with the execution of it all. I really am not a malicious person, and if I feel any anger at all, it's on his wife's behalf. I don't want to destroy his life, mostly because that would probably just end up hurting her too. So Reddit, what is the best way to tell her that her husband has been stepping out on her with me? And we do have an update from 3 days later. What would you say, Carly?
I don't even know the best way to go about
Right?
that. I guess maybe through Facebook? Because
Yeah.
how else are you going to reach out to her?
Yeah, I think would be the only like form of contact.
The classic, hey, girly.
Yeah, literally just like, hey, I'm so sorry. I
Ew.
know this is random, but I have to be very honest with you and just, apologize for what you can do. Just like
I had no idea.
I just found out about this. Like, yeah, I had no idea. Just found out about this.
Nothing actually fully happened.
Yeah, but unfortunately, like this stuff did,
It's
like the
obvious,
talking
yeah.
and the date and stuff like that.
Mm.
And like the kiss, but I feel awful and I really need to tell you and take this man down.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like honestly, if you apologize, be very honest and clear about what happened and then put the anger on him so that she doesn't put it on you, I feel like that would be great.
Yeah.
But there is an update from 3 days later. Hi again. A few days ago, I posted asking advice on how to tell an older man's wife that he was trying to cheat on her with me. Since then, I received a lot of feedback, which I'm grateful for. Before I get into what I chose to do, I just wanted to clarify a few things. A lot of people took issue with the fact that I didn't know his last name after talking with him for a few weeks, and others thought that I wanted to steal him from his wife. I guess I didn't explain well enough before, but I was never looking for an exclusive relationship with this man. School and work are my top priorities right now, and because of that, I simply don't have the time or emotional energy for a committed relationship. When I met him, all I was hoping for was something casual, especially since he didn't even live in the area. Yeah, that's a good point. He could have been hooking up with other women while seeing me, and that truly wouldn't have bothered me as long as he was being honest about it and wearing protection. I didn't think to ask him his last name before the 3-week mark because I really just hadn't made an emotional investment, but you are all right. If I'm going to get involved with someone romantically or spicily in any capacity, I should learn their last name much sooner, at least before I go out with them. One person also said to avoid tourists and people on business trips from here on out, and I agree. Even in the casual sense, it's gonna get messy. Like I said, if he'd been seeing other women, it would have been fine with me. Some of you said he might be in an open relationship, which I touched on in my first post. I don't think this is true because the point of an open relationship is that you're open about it with both your partner and the people that you're seeing. He never mentioned being in one or having a wife at all, so even if he was, he still lied to me. Yeah, he said he was divorced, so...
Yeah.
So for the actual update, I told her. Great. The question in my last post wasn't whether to tell her or not, it was how. Though I lost sleep over this for the last few days, I spoke with some of my close girlfriends, and they all said that they would want to know if they were the wife in this scenario. I decided to message the wife when he said he'd be at a doctor's appointment. I thought reaching out to her while she's alone and has time to process before seeing him would be best. I essentially explained the situation just like in my last post with some extra details I left out here for anonymity's sake, so she would know that I wasn't lying. I apologized a lot, sent her screenshots of our conversations, and asked her that she not tell him that I gave her this information. Well,
Yeah, you could have left that last part out.
yeah.
She's gonna have to.
There's like no other way.
How else would she have found out?
Yeah, exactly. Maybe just like let security know at your bar that that's happening just in case that guy shows up. Because that's
True.
the only thing that...
Good call.
That's probably what she's worrying about is like if he...
Yeah.
Because he knows where she works. So, I wonder.
Hopefully not where you live or anything. But I would also like to think he's going to be too busy with his imploding marriage.
Yeah.
To like come back for revenge for something he did.
Right.
Men are weird though.
Totally. If she went through his phone on her own like I suggested she should, then she'd be able to see the proof for herself and hopefully she would decide to just leave me out of it for my safety. Okay, that's a good thing to clarify. I told her I'd leave our chat open for 24 hours if she wanted to talk or request more screenshots, and then I would block her. At this point, I had already blocked the husband's number and his Facebook account too, just in case, even though we weren't even friends. So, 24 hours have passed and I got no response. I'm not sure if Facebook allows you to see read receipts for messages that if you aren't friends, but I know the message was delivered.
I think you could have left it open at least till she responded or saw it.
Yeah. I'm hoping that she did
More
that.
than 24 hours.
Yeah. Oh, but she says she has not responded, so I've gone ahead and blocked her.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you've done all that you could anyway, I guess, so.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah. But something that you could do is listen to full episodes of stories just like this one on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, or whatever your favorite podcast app is. Just search OK Storytime. And there is a little bit more to the story. Do you have final thoughts before we move on?
I mean, no, we're like too late to give advice. Like, you've already done the thing.
Yeah, I really want to know like what she said though. I'm like, for our sake, I really wish that you didn't block her so that we could see her response.
Right, and to like give her a little bit of time to process before she has to answer.
Yeah, right.
That's really quick.
Yeah, I don't like blame you though. Like a little bit, like I probably would not block her right away, but at the same time, like I get that you just want to kind of leave it.
Yeah.
But there is a little bit more to the story. Before I found out about his deception, the husband mentioned that he'd be in my hometown this weekend, and he knows which days I work. Hopefully this is the end of the story and I never see either of them again, but if he decides to show up at my bar, then I will update if I'm still alive. Thank you all again for your feedback. P.S. to the guy who messaged me suggesting that I could be the other woman in his marriage too, you're wild for that. And there is some clarification in the comments from OP. OP clarifies on the older man's posting on Facebook regarding the doctor's appointment. OP says no, he didn't put it on Facebook that he'd be at a doctor's appointment. He told me that he'd be there prior to me finding out that he already had a wife because we were talking about the next time that he'd be visiting my town. OP responds to a downvoted comment on how they met if she didn't know his last name. OP says, I didn't tell him where I worked. He happened to come into the bar that I bartended at while I was working, and that's how we met. And a downvoted commenter says, you are exhausting. And I feel like every potential man you date should be required to read this entire post you wrote and its update first before they agree to go out with you. What? I think you need to be real upfront with the type of person you are. OP says, honestly, this is great advice. If I could wear a big sign on my forehead that says, don't try to cheat on your wife with me, I'll tell her on every date I go on, then it would save me a lot of time, energy, and money. Another commenter. That's pretty funny. I don't know why that commenter had a problem with that post.
Right. That's the weirdest thing to have an issue with.
Like
he's definitely cheating on his
wife.
Right?
Yeah, like there are some posts where people just like drag on or like they freak out about things that don't need to be freaked out about, you know.
This was so direct and to the point.
Yeah, it totally, and she was so calm about it too. Like, come on. Another commenter says, if you messengered her and you're not friends, she'll only see it if she sees that there's a message request. As for read receipts, if you looked at your message sent and a dot with her profile pic appears at the right bottom, then she read it. I'm hoping you have some kind of support at the bar that you work at. Should he come in and be angry, I'm sure you do. But definitely have a buddy with you when you leave if he doesn't appear for the time that he's supposed to be around. And that's the end of that story.
My husband made me work with him so he can stop cheating.
He's becoming an honest man, I suppose.
So my husband, male 36, and I, female 35, are high school sweethearts. We got pregnant in high school, dated for a few years after we had our baby, and decided we did want to get married. Through every single up and down, we were there for one another. I honestly didn't think we could have a more perfect relationship. It's something I have been so proud of most of my life. By the way, this comes from Heartbroken Lady 276. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. I'm Carly.
I'm Angie.
And we're here to give good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We only know what we would do, so let us know what you would do in the comments. And OP says, about 4 months ago, my husband asked me to get a job at his company. Before this, I had just been working part-time jobs because we didn't really need the money since we weren't financially responsible for a child anymore. However, we agreed the extra money would be lovely to go towards our family trip funds, something we both and our son add to as often as possible. Our hope being to take a family vacation across Europe for a few months. And we were trying to make it happen sooner than later, because our son is recently married. We want them to be able to still go on the trip without worrying about a new baby. Once I got the job, I thought it was such a great decision. I was making quite a bit of extra money and seeing my husband so much more. Well, a couple of weeks ago, one of his coworkers approached me and asked how I could be so cool with the ongoing situation. I had no idea what she was talking about. So I asked for more detail, and she told me my husband and one of his coworkers had been having an affair for over a year.
Boo!
Tomato, tomato. Honestly, I trust my husband more than this woman I just met. I told him about it that night, and he immediately broke down. He told me he was so sorry, but it was true. He said I'm still the love of his life, but he needs some excitement outside of our relationship.
Oh, you need that? You really need that?
He told me he had been feeling so guilty about it. He asked me to start working there, hoping it would make him want to cheat less. But it's actually just caused them to sneak around more and find their relationship even more hot. I don't know what to do. I'm so humiliated. I feel like I should stick this out because we've been together so long, and I know it would devastate our son. But I don't think I can move on from this. He didn't even apologize. Just told me every man needs something new and exciting in a long-term relationship, and that it means nothing. Well, it certainly feels like something. We have an edit real quick. Thank you everyone for the kind words and support. I also got many messages that were so sweet. It has been really helpful to read everyone's advice. I was trying to figure out the best way to tell our son. I wanted to sit him down and let him know that my husband and I are getting a divorce.
Wow.
Okay.
Okay. That's probably for the best.
I agree. I bought the things to make his favorite meal and invited him over for dinner. Well, a couple hours ago, he called me and was extremely upset. He said that my husband told him I cheated and we were getting a divorce.
Rude.
He begged my son not to tell me, as it would just cause further problems. Oh, so he's lying still?
Yeah, it's going to cause further problems because she's going to find out that I'm lying.
Right.
And you're going to find out that I'm lying.
But my son wanted to know how I could do that to Dad and couldn't stay silent. I told him what actually happened over the phone, and he started crying. I am absolutely furious that my husband put my son through that. Even though he is an adult, it's still a very upsetting topic, and it should have been handled with care, not lies. I found a great divorce lawyer with my friend's help, and I am getting the ball rolling immediately. His mistress also messaged me after she found out I knew. She said, I should be grateful that my husband and I had a good marriage while we did, but she would be taking my place now. I ignored her message and blocked her. Good for you. I have an amazing support system in place and will be moving out later today. I'm staying with my friend and his wife until I can find a place of my own. I told my husband I'm divorcing him and moving out. He broke down and asked how I could do this to our family. He said I'm the one making the decision to end it and I should be ashamed I would throw away our marriage. He said he couldn't believe I would throw in the towel so quickly.
Bro.
Buddy, you've been cheating for a year.
Literally.
It's on
Come
you.
on now.
I told him to F off and go cry to his mistress. So now you're all caught up. If any more happens, I might update again. I'm a little scared because we're halfway through.
Oh no.
Thank you all again for your kind words and support. You have made this a little easier. Any advice, please?
Oh boy.
We have some comments, but
I fear an update is probably coming along.
I do also fear an update. I don't think we have half a story of comments.
Yeah, because it feels like things are pretty much resolved.
Yeah.
So I'm really scared, like, what's gonna happen now?
Maybe something to do with family vacation or something.
Yeah, my guess is that OP's ex-husband now is going to get out of that past relationship because it's not going to work out, and he's going to come running back and try to get
I could see that.
money or something.
Okay, I'll take a different guess.
Cool.
Just to keep it
Interesting.
fun. They're finally saved up for their vacation, and he wants to bring his mistress.
Oh my gosh. Do you think they would even go on their family vacation together anyway after all this?
I don't know. It's one of those things where I feel like maybe if the kid was younger,
True. But
like
seems
he might still want that family vacation thing.
Yeah, or maybe there's just problems of like who gets to go on the family
That's
vacation.
what I meant. Like, also like who gets the money for that?
Like,
Like,
will
do
he just
you
take
figure out everything you've put in?
Right. There's so many ways this could go.
Comments. Commenter 1. Getting you to work there and then continue to sneak around is so sad and sadistic. I'm so sorry. No one deserves that. Someone replies, why do they always say, you're the love of my life? It's patently absurd. You should not stick this out. Absolutely not. Not only did he cheat for over a year, he brought you into the workplace so he could cheat less and not stop cheating. Cheat less. And he cheated even harder. He's a dirt pickle who won't apologize for effing some random woman who means nothing, yet who he was willing to risk his marriage to the aforementioned love of his life for. He deserves nothing from you, and you deserve someone who actually cares about you. Someone this cavalier about cheating, I'm willing to bet, isn't the first time. He's still defending himself with utter tripe that, for the record, is complete nonsense. No, most men don't cheat, they just don't. Lawyer up and punt his butt. Commenter 2 says, I would go petty and serve him the papers at work and say, I hope that she was worth it, even when you said she means nothing.
Yeah.
Say that loud enough for her to hear.
Yeah, honestly.
Especially after her being like, it's my turn now.
Right. Like, I'm going to sweep it in and be
You
a better
can
wife
step
than you.
down.
Yeah. It's like, I doubt you're even getting married.
I doubt it. Take the humiliation to him. Take back control. You need a lawyer and a therapist. Take your baby and start over. You can do this. Someone replies, I would also report him to HR and his boss for workplace relationship and find out if the affair partner has a partner and let them know. If they wanted to humiliate you, make them effing regret it. And we do have an update.
Ah,
We knew it.
I really hope that any of our guesses are going to be included.
Like, I don't want them to be.
We're not even plugged in. I really hope that some of our guesses are going to be included. That's so exciting.
I don't want them to be, but I want.
But I just want to be right.
For the story time.
Yeah, exactly.
Update. So I read everyone's comments about reporting my husband and his mistress to HR. And also sleeping with his boss. I did report them to HR, but unfortunately there isn't anything they can really do because there's not actually any proof. I showed them the text, but they said unless I had proof of them committing acts on the work property, nothing could be done. On the bright side, I guess, I and his mistress found out that there has been a lot of others.
What? I wasn't expecting that.
I was not expecting that.
And the mistress found out? Are you guys going to like band together now in a way?
Not after what she said.
Yeah, true.
That would be such a like, you thought you were going to be the next wife?
Yeah, right?
He was cheating on you too, honey.
Dude. Yikes.
Including some older than her. His oldest affair had been going on for over 5 years.
Oh my gosh.
It was just a friends with benefits type situation. It was one of the moms I was on the PTA with.
Oh my gosh.
Both married and just looking for spicy sleep, apparently.
Girl.
I'm so glad you got out of here.
Dude, for real.
Well, his mistress is just devastated. She cannot believe he could possibly do this to her. She actually reached out to me asking for advice on how to handle everything. Once she realized I blocked her, she had one of our coworkers come and ask me. As for my job, I actually really love it. F the two of them. I'm keeping it.
Woohoo.
I'm good at it and I enjoy it. I make a livable wage from it. HR did tell me they would transfer me to a different branch, so I'm actually in the process of moving. Not just out of my ex's and I's house, but pretty far away. My ex begged me for a second shot to honor my vows and the commitment I made. He got very upset when I brought up the fact that he didn't keep his vows. He told me that first and foremost, loyalty should come first, and no matter the mistake, I should stand by his side.
That's crazy, because if it was any other mistake, I feel like you could say that. You could say, yeah, be loyal. I mean, depending on the mistake, you probably shouldn't forgive it, but like be loyal and like work through this with me together. But it's like the irony of the fact that the mistake is you being disloyal, like, girl.
Crazy.
That is crazy.
I looked at him and told him to miss my effing butt, which I'm going to assume is kiss my effing butt. That is my favorite thing to come out of this so far. By the way, my favorite thing to come out of this story is letting you know that you can listen to even more stories and episodes just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, wherever you get your podcasts. Search up OK Storytime. We've got a little bit left.
I'm appalled by this man.
Yeah,
and
but
his audacity.
honestly, go OP. Like,
Yeah.
she was like, okay.
Yeah.
Pulled up everything that she needs to do.
Literally.
Kept her new job.
Yeah.
Is moving. Like, is so much better off now.
Totally. And is not falling for it and taking him back.
Yeah.
She's standing her ground.
Yeah.
And
she
we
knew
love
right
that.
away, I'm not standing for this.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, you know your self-worth. And good.
I love to
Good.
see it.
My son believed me 100% without showing him the messages from the mistress. He cut contact with his dad.
Woo!
Also, to clear up some confusion, my son is 20. He met his girlfriend the first year of college, and they got married 2 months ago. Very recent, and part of the reason I was so concerned about the news of his dad and me. So, all in all, I am moving and starting over. And I have full support from everyone except my parents, who think I should stay and stick it out. Boo,
Bro,
parents.
Yeah.
Thank you so much to everyone who sent kind words and encouragement. You truly made a hard time a little easier, and that is the end of that story.
My boyfriend thinks I'm cheating, but I am not.
I hope that's not projection.
Trigger warning, physically abusive relationship. Hi, I never thought I'd post here, but here we go. My boyfriend is convinced that I, 28 female, am cheating on him with a coworker, similar age male. My boyfriend and I have been together for a year, and I would like to stress the following. By the way, this comes from Not Really Cheating 5, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. And I'm Angie.
I'm Carly.
And we're here to give good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We just know what we would do in the situation, but let us know what you would do in the comments. So OP would like to stress the following. I am not, nor have I ever been, attracted to this coworker. This coworker is happily married and treats me no differently than anyone else. I'm on a graduate scheme, so this coworker is senior to me and has a formal mentoring role. This coworker has contacted me once personally outside of working hours, only to have a work-based catch-up with me when I was ill. This situation is ridiculous. He has become convinced that I am cheating or am intending to cheat on him with this man. The coworker and I do get along, but I get along with most people. Because we work in close proximity and in the same department, it's a huge company, I do mention him more than others when I'm telling stories about my day to my boyfriend, but it's all really dull work-based stuff. I thought maybe having him meet people where I work would help. This made it worse though, somehow. As afterwards he felt vindicated since he had taken everything his coworker said to him as a subtle indication of his intentions towards me. I and several others were in the room the whole time, and the coworker did not say anything out of the ordinary. It's insane. It's getting to the point where he's so upset and uncomfortable that I'm getting nervous and having to not tell him about things that happened at work because it will involve mentioning this person. In the latest case, the coworker had sent a message to the entire team about an absence, but obviously my phone went off and his name appeared, and my boyfriend became really distressed. Any advice would be appreciated, and there are some comments and a lot more to the story. But
wow, yikes.
Yikes.
From what we know so far, it sounds like your boyfriend's got some insecurities.
Issues
that he needs to work through on his own.
Totally. Because it's the kind of thing where it's like, I guess in like some relationships, sure, maybe some jealousy can pop up, and maybe, you know, people go about it in an okay way where they're just like, hey, I don't know why I'm feeling this. Like, I trust you, but just letting you know this is just what I'm feeling. Like, what can we do? Or can you just give me reassurance, you know?
I think there's like inevitably always going to be somebody that comes along and makes you just like a little bit uncomfortable with things, or like, hey, am I just really in my head about this? Like, especially if you're feeling a little bit more insecure at that time. Like, it can totally get to you.
Totally. But we do have some comments. Startdale says he needs to look at therapy for his insecurities. It could be a symptom of hiding depression or another anxiety disorder. Untreated, they can get worse. Either that, or he has control issues and is using his paranoia as a way to try and control your behavior, isolating you from other people. Has he ever been jealous of male friends or had issues with you hanging out with friends without him or on a girls' night out? Hope he responds. As far as the first issue, I agree. I don't really know how to access that stuff or how he would. For the second, that's a firm no. He recognizes that this feeling he has is nonsense, albeit very difficult, and actively encourages me to do things without him and have a healthy social life. However, I will say this. His feelings alone do make me want to alter my behavior to make him feel better, even though he would never intend this to be the case. Balance the Mirror says, can you give any examples of what he's saying? Is he accusing you of meeting up secretly? Since you have a total of 2 texts from your coworker, how does your boyfriend turn that into cheating? Secret phone? Because unless you're leaving some major things out, this is almost paranoid and not in the colloquial sense. And in response to you wanting to alter your behavior to make him feel better, wait, what? Your behavior is fine, right? Why would you be wanting to alter anything to make him feel better? Opie says, as in, although he would never explicitly or implicitly, with guilt tripping, etc., say don't do this, I can see him hurting and I suppose that I want to fix it. I know rationally nothing is wrong. It's hard to even pinpoint where I started. I do legitimately need to stay late at my job, so there's that time possibly. It's completely irrational, but he does recognize this. He'll just get really uncomfortable and sad, or normally say something insulting about the coworker. The things he says about me cheating are less angry accusations and more him saying that he's not good enough, so he thinks it's happening. When pushed, he obviously has no reason to think this and will acknowledge that he's being ridiculous. I just really needed to know that I'm not overreacting when I get angry at him over it, and that this is legitimately insane. And I will say, yeah, you're definitely not overreacting.
Yeah,
because
not at all.
Yeah, like even if he's not like obviously guilt tripping by saying like, oh, like you wouldn't do this to me, right? And or like this makes me so sad. Can you please do this? Like if you don't do this, I'm gonna be so much sadder. But that is a very common manipulative tactic to have that reaction because he knows you're going to see him being sad and not like it. So, so that alone is something to keep an eye on because
it's still influencing how you're behaving in response and everything.
Like that's so common for manipulators to use. So
not saying that he necessarily is doing it on purpose, but it's still something that he should also be aware of.
Yeah, he just shouldn't be doing it.
Yeah.
Well, just a lot of like maybe he's not manipulating you on purpose or whatever, but I think that a lot of manipulators are very aware of like how to do it.
And good about kind of being like, acting like he's not doing it. I hope it's not the case here.
Yeah, like it's very possible that he knows that explicitly saying don't go around him is in the wrong and that's too far. So he's going to do this to kind of control in a roundabout way. Yeah. So
agreed.
Something to keep an eye out for.
Yeah.
OP replying to a deleted comment. OP says, that's actually a pretty good chunk of what I meant, actually. This is going to sound dumb, but I hadn't considered how it might be the sum of all of those elements. New job, lots of stories where one person features prominently. Staying late, contact after hours, contributing to this.
Contact after hours one time because you were sick.
And it was like work related though too.
Right.
Like
and he saw it.
Yeah. I've just been seeing them as individual things. It's been a big change in routine since my old job. I know everyone at his work, and he's been there so long. I imagine if a new woman started working closely with him and this coincided with longer hours, I would feel concerned, though not to this extent. So I do think I understand the base feelings feeding into it then, if perhaps not the level of distress it results in. Based on the kind of route that this takes, where all of it begins with, I'm not good enough, therefore you will leave, I can see that if he already has quite a profound insecurity about himself in which he thinks he's somehow not good enough for me, then these circumstances could act as a bigger trigger for that and really maybe just bring this out to the surface. This actually would make a lot of sense in terms of some other things that he said about himself in the past, which maybe I should have taken more seriously and have pushed more for him to open up about. For example, he makes jokes about him being insert negative trait here, and that I never took as coming from a genuine pain. Thank you for that perspective. I'm speaking with him about it tonight. And there is an edit. I mean, Open Up's comment was a pretty good example of what's really been happening with that for clarity. And there is an update from 26 days later.
Oh, okay.
But I have thoughts about that though.
Okay, let's hear them.
Because like people have different levels of like how they want to go about a relationship in regards to cheating.
Yeah.
And I think it's huge to agree on that level. Like, I think that, like, you know, if...
You mean of, like, what's considered cheating kind of thing?
Yeah, like, what's considered cheating and, like, other similar boundaries. Like, some people believe that, you know, you shouldn't be friends with the opposite if that's what you're attracted to, you know, and it's like, I personally hate that.
Yeah, that one's weird to me.
But it's also like I can't control other people's thoughts on that, so it's like, go be with someone that agrees with you, you know?
100%.
And I think this is the case where you don't agree on that. It's like, yes, he might be feeling insecure with all of this, but that's really just an explanation. Like, when anyone talks about insecurities revolving cheating in any relationship, they're gonna have all of that background that your boyfriend has, you know? Like, that's not just... We're not calling it insecurities for nothing, you know?
Right, exactly.
But there is an update. So, 26 days later. So, it got a bit of attention, so I wanted to do an update. Plus, crap hit the fan over the last few days, so buckle yourselves in. After we spoke about the original issue, things did get better. Then, little fragments of other controlling behaviors started to come out. I thought we could work through them, until when things came to a head. I found out that he had, in fact, cheated on me. When I attempted to leave him over this, he became very, very harmful to the point where he was arrested. Oh, yikes, yikes, yikes. He threw things, screamed, threatened me, and trapped me in the house. I'm crushed, but relieved I found out now. I'm staying with friends currently and trying to process. And you can currently listen to full episodes of stories just like this one on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, or whatever your favorite podcast app is. Just search OK Storytime. And there is a little bit more.
Yeah, this is one of those things where it's like so rough when it comes to this head of like, wow, this is who you were this entire time.
Yeah.
On the same hand, like, thank God it was only this far in. You weren't married to this man.
Right.
You weren't like
years into
more thickly involved and tied to this man, and that you had such a quick head and such good thinking to be like, hi friends, I'm gonna stay with my friends.
Okay, bye, I'm out.
Bye.
Yeah. Thank goodness.
Thank
goodness. So I guess if there's a moral to the story, don't ignore signs of but I can't help the sense that the escalation came out of nowhere, and how before, if you tried to tell me this would have happened, I would have laughed in your face. I guess I don't know what I could have done to prevent this. The original issue seemed to be able to be worked through, but was masking this. Thank you to everyone who offered advice and support in my previous post. Apart from that one guy who thought I'd had a Freudian slip in one of my comments and became convinced that I had actually cheated on my partner, like I was a Scooby-Doo villain. In retrospect, you can go F yourself. And there are some comments. Waves and Mountains says, I'm so sorry that happened to you. Thank you for the update and reinforcing the idea that cheaters project their behavior onto innocent people. Opie says, I came off maybe flippant in the post, but I'm just in shock. I feel a year of my life has been taken from me and utterly wasted. Best Failure says, yeah, it's hard. Better now, though, than in a few more years, though. Trying to accommodate him a bit here and a bit there and end up sacrificing opportunities and yourself because you love him and want to make a life with him. And only finally realize how effed up it is to want that anymore. OP says, I cannot stress enough how much I relate to what you have just said here. I still love him, but I love myself more. Thank God. Woo! My life for error says, I had a girlfriend who was super jealous. I would have a 2-minute conversation with some girl and then she would say, why don't you just F her while you're at it? Yikes. Things like that. Turns out she was projecting and it was her that was cheating the whole time.
Shocker.
Shocker. Opie says it definitely started getting like that. Dangby says, whenever I hear or read someone say my partner has accused me of cheating out of nowhere, the truth is almost always that the partner is in fact the one who is cheating. Glad you figured it out and are now free of the situation. Good luck. And that's the end of that story.